Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Portal Revolution. So we're in Chapter 6. I didn't even know there was a Chapter
Did you know
6.
that Aperture simulates breathing and blinking in its sentient robots? I still have a sort of subconscious reflex to breathe and blink my eye, even though that's not technically necessary. Turns out the human mind doesn't cope well when those functions are removed. Be glad you didn't volunteer for our early mind mapping tests. Those were not good times to be a test subject.
So it looks like we just have to make a jump here. So I'm assuming that standing on this will blow the acceleration gel. We are doing something different here with the Air Force physics happening. What was that spark coming from? Just a light sparking. That's another great example of just something visually distracting not needing to exist in a game like this, where everything should have meaning if it's going to happen. Yeah, I assume I'm just running and then maybe jumping at the edge here. Yep. It's too simplistic of a puzzle, but it in a nicely polished game might be a case where the simplicity of this might be just reminding us, establishing in our minds what we need to do for a much more complicated puzzle.
So, to recap, Glaus killed all humans and then got killed herself by a test subject. And what happened since? Why is there nobody here? Did nobody come to investigate this place? Forget about the government. Why does Black Mesa have no interest in what happened here?
So directly mentioning Black Mesa, the big reveal one assumes is that everyone on the planet Earth is for the most part dead. Okay. And see, this is where in Portal 2 I would have thought it would have made more sense to have a portal gun that let you suck up a little bit of goo and spray it in small little bursts than to just continue the liquid physics experiment here of shooting things in arcs around. Inherently, if I'm only painting the edges, though, I'm not, if I'm only painting the floors, I'm not painting anything else. If I'm not painting anything else, then I can't really do anything. And this highlights where the whole system potentially just starts to fall apart. I have no idea where I'm really even going at the moment, so I can just kind of goof around while I try and figure out. It seems like you might want to fling yourself in that direction. That doesn't seem like that would do anything for you. Okay, let's do a little bit of an experiment here. We'll fly here, fling ourselves that way, and that just lands on that pad. this overshoots by far the pad. This lands in the exact same spot. It's quite a lot of painted stuff down there. If that was the trick, that we were supposed to just figure out how to paint in the lower sections. But I don't think that's the trick. Weirdly, I am going to have to just go through there. And see, if I get painted with the moon dust, it maybe covers me for just like half a second. But I don't think it does anything special. It maybe made the camera a little wobbly. Alright, well, let's go up here. Okay. Now I see what we're doing. Although I'm not 100% sure which one is which. It's giving us all three options. So that now gives me a painted wall by using the sucking force to hit that. Okay, next step. Paint the surface here with that, at least to start with. So I would want to shoot myself out here, hit probably a bouncy spot. I don't think we actually need a cube up here or anything like that. So we'll get height here. Maybe we'll accelerate ourselves here into the wall. Otherwise, it would just be kind of a jump downward. I think we can just accelerate ourselves into the hole. Just see how this goes. Yes. I got an achievement for that, but I did look at the achievements, and there's quite a few of them. The achievement I just got was the boring solution. There is an achievement called the fun solution, which I have no idea what the fun solution is supposed to be, nor do I care to stick to this game that is a little too long already as a fan mod to try and find it. I've also missed several other achievements.
You have just completed another test. Congratulations on contributing once again to the future of science. Feel welcome to pause at any moment. There's cake and beverages in the break room.
Interesting that the personality sphere can't turn it off. And I don't know how I was supposed to turn it off. And it's interesting you have a speakerphone here when we just don't see speakerphones anywhere else in the game. Yeah. It definitely does just kind of feel like fan mods, fan sequels shouldn't be that ambitious. They shouldn't go for 8 hours. They should target closer to 4 hours, even in a grandly ambitious case.
Looks like I turned myself off. Yeah, I dabbled in voice acting when I first joined the company as an intern. That was so long ago. Please, just forget everything you heard down there.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm still at a position where I'm not hating the puzzles we're doing now. I'm hating the 6 hours it took to get, or feels like it's been 6 hours at least, to get to this point.
I don't know if this is supposed to be a test chamber. If it is, our chamber budget has officially hit a new low.
Just go ahead and put a portal there, because that's pretty obvious. And this looks like a giant dry dock for perhaps the Borealis. But I don't know to what end, really. Like, they keep referencing the Borealis. Am I really expecting that we would get on the ship and something would happen? Or we'd interact in any way whatsoever? With a giant Borealis naval ship. The Borealis is a giant naval ship. I've been naming it, but I haven't been describing it, have I? Feels like we could basically paint lots and lots of places. But I don't really want just a like empty sandbox mode in Portal. Maybe that would have solved some things, certainly if they had just at some point made a sandbox mode and said, well, we're past the point where we can make any more content, so let's instead just let the players do it. Mario Maker is kind of an example. Mario Maker 2 is kind of an example of a game like that, where, yeah, all the ideas had been done, or enough ideas have been done. Seriously what I'm supposed to be doing? Maybe I was supposed to fling myself up to this location? Notice the floor here is set in such a way that I could portal myself back downward, although you could just jump also. I have no clue. Just no clue at all as to what our final goal is. I don't see an exit. I don't see a surface. And I don't know how you can describe that as anything other than just terrible video game design. Okay. So, either I'm supposed to fling myself because I can't get any higher. That's not enough paint. Wouldn't be surprised if some of this paint is slowly drying up and going away as an effort to cheat. Yeah, let's just assume I did get. Right. So what I want to do, I guess, is shoot a red portal as soon as possible, but then that still wasn't gonna work. We see a catwalk over there. That doesn't mean anything. Did we place a red portal? No. There we go. So I effectively cheated this by placing a red portal, which means if I jump here, I'm now higher than I really should be. And this highlights where you need a completely enclosed room, or at least you need a very tall room, to address the possibility that you would just scale up forever. Although that wouldn't be a terrible twist on the Aperture Science layout either, if all of a sudden it was just a game where you were portaling higher and higher and higher, and that was one major part of the experience. Something like getting over it with B'nai Fadi or Jump King, but with portals instead. Okay. So what can we paint? Eventually, we're gonna run out of surfaces. If we run out of surfaces that are higher than me, I can't do anything further. I can't go any higher. There's a section like this in Portal 2. Also, this is somewhat reminiscent, although I have to admit, in Portal 2, in the official game, it was much more thought through. This seems to be completely random. And then at a certain level, it feels like there should just be a big ball of white goo above you, and you would just hit that white goo to drop and coat the entirety of the map. I could jump down here and try and shoot myself upward. That feels like that's all I can do. There's no tilted, angled surface on this. So it just feels like I'm going the wrong way when all the light seems to point to the idea that this is the right way. Right, well, let's just see what happens here. We hit the ceiling, and thus we lost a bunch of momentum. Even though we have some white goo here, it doesn't seem like that's the actual move to just like coat all of this area. Probably does make some sense to just try and go back and forth. This feels structurally more logical. Yeah. That feels right. The only real concern would be I'm going to jump out of this here and potentially have to hit something here. Right. There's slight angles here on the edge of the floor. Maybe we're supposed to make use of that. It's funny, either direction though seems to always go in the same direction, even though I'm sometimes putting the portal upside down. Yeah, you would think if I'm flipping one portal upside down, then the flow of the goo should change. It isn't. Still feels right though, the tall vertical. Maybe some of these other tall verticals would work just as well. I'm still not high enough though to fling myself. That seems weird. Come down here, we hit that, we're hitting the wall. No luck. So let's look for other tall verticals. Why does it seem to want to target the central locations? It would be really, really annoying if it turned out that there was just a surface somewhere. That feels right, however. This does feel like this is the right spot. Let's see if we can get a portal. We'll see if we can just fall a little bit to the right or to the left. Yep. Need to fall to the right. Too much to the right. There we go. So this gets me to this catwalk, which I don't think helps at all. If anything, it feels like this surface would need to be coated, and I just don't see how that surface would be coated. Okay, well, I see other vertical surfaces. Potentially could be coated. Could just keep on doing this. Maybe that will reveal something special. If it could just, if we had to paint the entire door, that would be asking quite a bit. Also, see, this is the angle. I mean, this definitely feels more like what you're supposed to be doing. That you're supposed to be up here, ready to jump off a ledge, and from that ledge fling up there. to get there the first time. And once you're up here, it does just feel like you're supposed to do something to get more goo. Not over here, but over there. And it definitely just does not feel like there's any other trick to this. Yeah. Maybe if I got higher up on this wall, I could paint this surface a little bit easier, but this surface is already painted well enough. A lot of this has just way too much momentum. Okay. We have the front face of that wall painted. That side painted. Looks like I could jump now. So what I'm gonna do is put a blue here and then jump and put a red down where I'm gonna land. Darn it. That was not what I wanted to have happen. Still definitely feels like the move is to try and get up to this section. And it still feels like that is way more difficult than it really should be. It's easy to kind of completely forget about the whole idea of the teleportation device and it destroying or sucking resources out of the rest of the facility. Up here. It feels like what you should be able to do is just jump up here. Okay. So let's target that. We can get very close and angle ourselves this direction as much as possible. Go down here, do that. We'll let ourselves get flung a couple times so we are certain that we're going to push forward. And forward we go, and then we just slid right off. If I could get up there, I do think I could reach this next section. So we'll try that again. I'm pushing myself. Not forward. Well, wait a minute. If I got on top of... If I got a portal on top of this, I could do something different. So, shoot a portal on top of that surface. If I could get one to fit. It's going to be a tall order. I'm either would have to twist myself quite a bit, which I maybe could pull off, or I'm gonna have to spam portals and hope I'm right. Nope. But maybe we can fix that by simply positioning on ourselves like that. I'm shooting the wrong color portal anyways. I need to put a red. Do I actually need to do anything, or am I really looking in the wrong direction? It actually looks like I'm looking the wrong direction. Looks like there's already some white paint up there. I don't know how I was supposed to have seen that, but whatever. We will. Finally, we have reached this spot, which lets me hit that. Which I guess lets me do that. What's the next step after that, however? Because I have no idea. I seriously doubt we're supposed to go over the edges of the walls. I guess we're supposed to do this. That would make some sense. Stand on the button and paint as much as possible in that area. Now, in the main games, it is kind of nice and easy as far as how to paint. You can really just get one blob. That probably will be good enough. So I've probably done well enough there. So then we'll just see if now from this direction we can paint a little bit more. Looks like that's the case. So we can reach up to that section. And the game saves, so at least we know we're doing the right things. It's just too easy, unfortunately. Yeah. You're just not actually solving anything that's mentally challenging when you're just painting with the white portal paint. That was probably a mistake. Let's just go up here and see. Yeah, imagine we're still trying to get to that elevator, which means we still have to paint with the white paint. And again, this just feels like this is a throwback to things we've done before. Doesn't feel like it's doing something imaginative or new. This is mostly getting flung up. So, not sure if there really is a way to get to over here. Unless I'm supposed to jump way, way down there and fling myself way up here. Which you would really need an X marks the spot if that was going to be the case. And I wouldn't be surprised if the catwalk that is down there actually is precisely placed to block flinging yourself up, or at least making it really difficult to fling yourself up. But I don't know what else I'm supposed to do here. We've got a whole bunch of walls, all of which would need to be painted. Got this surface, which could be my entry spot. I could shoot something here and then move it and hope that there's maybe enough splashing to hit the surface. Unless I need to go all the way back to the bottom just to get a different angle on the portals. Well, we got it, finally. Okay. But will that actually help? Not sure it will. Even if I fully coat all of this section, I lose this wall. When I lose this wall, I can't get over to that side. Sure feels like there should be some other move or maneuver here. I would need an angled shot that direction against that wall. Yeah. That is lined up almost exactly in the way of that. Go ahead and do that. Where are the portals? Now they may all be broken. It would seem more logical that you would take some of these tubes and then the tube would be sending the white gel through this spot. Jump here. That gives us an interesting view, at least there. Gotta jump back down here. Do this. Yeah, and I just have no idea if that's the right way or if that just happens to be the way I did it. And fingers crossed, this is just going to be an elevator that we'll get on and go to the next puzzle. Does this feel like a portal puzzle chamber in any way? Not really. It is much, much closer to the few disconnected puzzles I didn't like in Portal 2. But certainly the rest of the game made up for that.
Turns out that wasn't a chamber. At least it gave me time to disable the speakers in the next chambers. We don't need to listen to that again.
So even the game is straight up admitting that that wasn't a puzzle chamber. But if she's disabling the speakers, she may be disabling any warnings or hints you could extract from that dialogue. And here we have motion sensors opening the doors, when a lot of times the doors were opening without any kind of motion sensor device attached to them.
That looks more like a chamber. You know what? I actually remember this one. It's collected some dust, but looks pretty much unchanged. Most of our tests get updated when we find a critical design flaw. Seems like this one survived the test of time.
Interesting. It feels like you could put a portal on the floor, and you can. It's just have to get the right angle, the correct angle. So they're singing the praises of this test chamber. What are these supposed to be in these crates? Yeah, 40 puzzles really is just breaking down to 4 groups of about 10 puzzles. Let's see, hit the button, I guess. It just feels really, really repetitive. And part of it certainly is the fact that I've played Portal 1 and Portal 2 2 times in probably the past decade, plus other DLC. So you have to kind of take that level of satisfaction into account also. So we need to get a cube. Interesting. Nothing fizzled when I walked through here, I guess just because I didn't have any portals placed. It does fizzle if a portal is placed. I felt like it always fizzled, regardless of whether you had a portal placed or not, but in all fairness, you very rarely are in a situation where... Seriously? These portal placements are not working anywhere as well as they should. You're very rarely going to be in a situation where you do have a portal. You go through a fizzler and the portal isn't established already. Okay. And this may just be straight up a joke, where you don't have to actually interact with any of these components to solve the puzzle, and we just are gonna escape some other way. It does seem to me like they've eliminated some components here. I don't recognize this puzzle. We're not seeing the paint anymore. That one. Good riddance, I would say. We've done enough with the paint lately. It's time to do something different. Where did the cube just fall? It fell down here. So if I hit this, then stand on this. Still doesn't catch the cube. We want the cube to be grabbed by this and this, which would require putting a portal here, which we can't until we're standing on this. Nope, we can't put a portal there at all until we put something on that cube. So how would this work? Just don't think it does. I see a cube over there. Maybe there's something more to it. Yeah, there is something more to it. So I was right about there being an achievement for touching the glass where it says don't touch the glass. I've seen that shown a couple times already. But it only registered me touching the glass once. Which, yeah, that doesn't work. So we just sucked the cube up, and then where did the cube end up after that point? It gets sucked up here, and then goes through a tube over here, and it gets flung over there. Okay. I think I've got it. We are manipulating the cube multiple times. Okay. So we need to put the blue portal here. And then it's going to get flung here, and then we just need to step off. Now the next part of this, I think, is probably too much extra work to just try and do this in one go. So let's just set things up. Okay. Is that a companion cube? Nope. So we will set ourselves back up. I may have preemptively come up here. We want this and this, I think. Although I'm not 100% sure why. Okay. That's gonna push me. Or it's gonna push the cube. So I need to get up there. Do I need another cube at all? Well, it doesn't look like that's open yet. Let's just see what happens. Okay. That too is an opening, yes. We need something that would push us maybe upward, but why upward and over in that direction? Now, everything implies to me it would make sense to just do that. We need this cube up here, don't we? Okay. That makes sense. That gives us permanence in that factor. And I'm just assuming that when I get to the door is going to open. There's really no telling how many more of these puzzles
Good news!
there are.
I found us an elevator out of here. Just one more chamber.
Okay. So do we want to believe them? Or do we think that this is going to take longer than that? I think it probably is going to take longer than that. So I think we'll end here. Go ahead and make another save file without button prompts this time. Man, that Steam input needs some more work. Yeah. So either we're going to have potentially a short episode in the next recording, or we'll just have an average length episode, if not long. And I certainly don't think too could happen here to change my opinion on this game. I'm not hating it. It's really hard to hate more Portal puzzles, even ones that are slightly bad, as Portal Revolution feels. But I'm certainly not loving it. They definitely shouldn't have used the word revolution if they weren't going to make a game that either involved a revolution of some sort, more in its storyline, or had revolutionary gameplay concepts, which I don't think this game really does. The wind blowing mechanic is interesting, but it's not revolutionary. There are hints that there might be humans and that there could be a revolution around that, but we would have needed a lot more hints and a lot more story if that was where they were going. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.